This year's Big Read is kicked into full swing, and several events have been held to explore the themes of this year's book. This year's book is called When the Emperor Was Divine by Julie Otsuka. The book tells the story of a Japanese family who endured the internment camps during World War II. The Attleboro Public Library, in conjunction with the Attleboro Area Bar Association and Bristol Community College, held a panel discussion to talk about the book and the experience in the internment camps. To learn more about the event, we spoke with Panel Moderator Edward Casey.
Joan Pilkington-Smith is the Attleboro librarian, and she is the prime mover in the annual Attleboro Big Read. She contacted me and asked whether I would be interested in sponsoring one aspect of the celebration of this year's book, which is Julie Otsuka's When the Emperor Was Divine, as part of the full celebration. The Bar Association was very pleased to participate, and the Bar Association sponsored this panel discussion this evening, consisting of 5 individuals that had remarkable insights into the story of the internment of approximately 110 or 120,000 Japanese Americans beginning in the spring of 1942, lasting until almost 1945. In the book, the story is of a mother, a son, and a daughter separated from the father, husband, who is taken away charged with treason. He is not a big part of the book, but it is a story of unnamed mother, unnamed son, unnamed daughter, and their experiences adapting to life in a concentration camp in Utah. The purpose of having the panel discussion tonight was to talk about the justification that the U.S. military advanced to support a military order requiring the Japanese Americans to leave California, Washington, Oregon, and most parts of Arizona. And the justification was that by virtue of their race, by virtue of the fact that they may have had ties to Japan, that they represented a risk to the security of military installations. In fact, as the panelists explored in the conversation this evening, there was not one single episode of sabotage. So this story this evening, this discussion this evening, explores some of our ideals as expressed within the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. And this example where we failed to live up to the ideals expressed in those documents. We also touched very briefly upon ways that perhaps we confront these same questions, balancing the interests of the government in defending us with the rights of the individual to be free from unreasonable searches, entitled to due process.
Well, I think it's commendable that the city of Attleboro, as many other cities, chose for its Big Read a book on what for many people is a little known part of American history, and that is about the internment of Japanese Americans. And the selection of this small book by Julie Otsuka, which is a small but yet I think powerful and difficult book, is one which speaks very much, and while it's placed in the 1940s, and in some ways the vehicle is a discussion of the internment of Japanese Americans in the 1940s, I think the book is as current as the front pages today and what's happened ever since. And so for those reasons, I think that's been an excellent selection. Some of these issues are perennial. They're about what happened then and what the continuing legacy is about the Japanese American internment. And while there is little known about it, there still is a lot of controversy and a lot of misunderstanding, frankly, about this particular period in American history. And so I thought this was a useful exercise to share some of the conceptions and misconceptions and feelings and thoughts, and I think there are many that still exist today, and there's still a lot of controversy. But I think in some respects what united this particular audience was a desire to learn more and to think not just about history as sort of this this dead thing from the past that has no sort of reverberations for the present, but it's something that can inform our everyday lives here in terms of the government, in terms of policy, but also in terms of citizens of the United States. I think the larger point is that in some ways that history is not something that is dead, it's not something that's past, and that vehicles like literature can be a way in which we take a look at things within our history that are little known and little understood. And to have an entire community come together to try to focus upon these various issues and this understanding is commendable. I hope that this continues. I hope next year there's another book on another group that sheds a different light on another dark chapter in American history. And the light from that discussion, I think, will make life better for the people of Attleboro, but also all of the people that they touch.
I think that for myself, I grew up, very proud of this country. I continue to be very proud of this country. But I think that there is sometimes the sense that we can do no wrong. And we sometimes learn best from being exposed to, bad coaches, to leaders who fail to lead. And this story is an example of how hysteria, racism can undermine the commitment that we have to the ideals of this country.
I think that there are plenty of opportunities to do so. People will now really dig to it. The literature is growing on the internment. There's many, for the people who rely upon literature and films, there are many opportunities to look for it. They should dig, they should look for it, but they will find them. I want to thank Attleboro Access Cable System for providing this particular opportunity and for recording this. It's important, I think, when you ask how do people learn about something, one of the ways they learn about it is to sit in an audience here, but also to be able to reflect and to see the discussion on cable systems.